Hey, I'm Vijay Iyer. I'm really excited to plunder the vaults of Nonesuch and dig out some of my favorite albums from over the years. This one, Javanese court gamelan. I had never heard anything like this. I thought I knew what music was, then I heard this, and it seemed like everyone there was somehow on the same page doing this thing that felt like nothing I could fathom. It was orchestral music. It's got percussion, it's got winds and strings, it's got voice, and these incredible rhythmic transformations that I could not fathom. And I've been, over the years, trying to make sense of them on my terms, and even some of my compositions were trying to address these like rhythmic morphing methods that they use when something slows down but also speeds up at the same time. It's very hard to explain and harder to do, but I've tried it a few times. And anyway, the whole approach to putting music together was something both familiar and unfamiliar to me, and I think that particular combination of qualities made it one of my favorite records of all time. This is a fantastic record of Carnatic music. Ramnad Krishnan is his name. The album title is Vidwan. He's a wonderful singer. There's so much passion and precision in it. These stunning outpourings of melody. And the tempos are very leisurely, but there's all this rhythmic detail in there. The kind of ornamentation that they use with melody, it's called gamaka. Even though I have heritage from this part of the world, I hadn't really listened in that kind of detail before. And I think it's partly the quality of this recording that made me want to keep coming back, because it's very pleasurable to listen to, just as a sonic experience. And that's, you know, a lot of the recordings we would get from that part of the world, kind of scratchy and kind of, you know, I had some cassettes and things and just not quite on the level of this. This was just like a high fidelity audio, so you could really enjoy just the listening experience regardless of what the music was. And I think that helped me stay with it, you know, and I've studied this album a lot. You know, I was in high school in the 80s, and I'd hear about this kind of just oddball person who had somehow a charting hit. But it didn't make any sense. I saw the video at my friend's house on MTV, and she's like wearing dough or something. It was sort of like mum shots or something. It's like this very lo-fi visual illusion that she's doing with a video camera. And it was just surreal. It wasn't quite song. It was just this quirky monologue that was quasi-rhythmic, that was set to this slender electronic beat. Then she had this wacky electric violin, and I played violin at the time, and I just couldn't believe my eyes or my ears. Then I was like, this woman has a way with text that is music. Somehow she finds the musicality of words, and it's partly her delivery, but a lot of it is just her placement of words and the very like poetic kind of, what should I say? Succinct and wry utterances that just had me transfixed. And I was like, wow, this can be music too. I'm happy to say I've gotten to know her in recent years, and she's a wonderful human being. We're just lucky to get to share the planet with Laurie. The great Julius Hemphill, saxophonist and composer, a brilliant and prolific artist. I got to see him when he visited New Haven when I was in college. He just gave a little talk and then played solo, and I'd never heard a horn sound like that. It was like it was speaking. It was like he was holding a child in his arms and the child was speaking. I don't know how else to describe it. But he had such a calm and kind of extremely mellow demeanor, and then this cry was coming from the horn. It sort of shocked me. And then I was like, let me find some music by this man. You know, he's one of the founders of the World Saxophone Quartet. He also wrote a ton of chamber music. Anyway, this is his big band music. I think it's the only such album. And this group is You know, there was something that I think could be loosely described as the creative music movement. A lot of people know about the AACM. They were all from Chicago, but there were actually concurrent movements like this in other cities, including St. Louis. So Julius was from St. Louis. A lot of those guys moved to New York around the same time, and this sort of crystallizes a moment from that. Another interesting tidbit about this is Bill Frisell is on this record. And there's this fantastic suite based on a poem called Drunk on God, which had me riveted. It's a big band, and so you might think that there's a kind of traditional orientation to it. But as Anthony Braxton once said, the tradition is creativity. And that, to me, is what's really happening here. The Kronos Quartet. When these guys surfaced as a group, it was a radical moment. It felt like, first of all, there weren't many professional string quartets who wore leather pants. So that's something you gotta pay attention to, but that's not why they caught my attention anyway. Maybe that had other people interested, but I was more interested in the fact that they dedicated themselves to contemporary music, especially by a lot of living American composers. This album has that Black Angels piece, which it actually involves them doing a lot of extended techniques on the instruments, and the sound that comes out of that, it's sort of this weird, very thin emanation. It sort of sounds ghostly, but also kind of Baroque. It's weird. There's also, they get to play a bunch of percussion, tuned glasses and gongs and different things. You hear them speak and shout, and it's a very turbulent and haunted, mysterious piece. And it's a very profound anti-war statement, which seems like we need more of those every day. Speaking of living composers, our girl, the great Cécile McLorin Salvant. I co-taught this course once with my friend Yosvani Terry called Composer Performers of the African Diaspora. And I invited Cécile to do this, to join us. And, you know, we wanted to do a deep dive on her music. She's like, but I'm not a composer. I said, yes, you are. I'm pretty sure you are. I think she was best known at the time for doing a lot of repertory, a lot of arcane stuff, and also these sort of French chansons and things. But she has a voice of her own as an artist, and look at her now. She is stepping out, doing some really risky stuff as an artist, which I'm just so proud to witness. I mean, I'm proud to know her. And I love that she did nothing expected on this record, and she just followed her heart and her muse and went for it. And that's what it's about.
Things you do, I believe in